Three main chess principles that you should know by heart. If you're a beginner in chess, an amateur, or even more, if you just know how to move the pieces, this is where your chess mastery journey starts. And if you're a professional player, a rated player, an online player, this is where you can enjoy one of the most famous and marvelous chess games of all time and rethink your mindset about chess. In this video, I will teach you the three main principles in chess that if you know them and apply it into your games, your chess power will increase. I will promise you, just watch this video till the end. It's one of the most famous games of all time. The player of the white pieces is GM Bent Larsen, Grandmaster Bent Larsen, playing for the world team against Boris Spassky, the world chess champion, which was playing for the Soviet Union team. So this is a team game. World team against Soviet Union, and this is board one. Bent Larsen was playing at board one, and guess who was playing at board two for the world team? Bobby Fischer was playing for the board two. And Boris Spassky at this game checkmated Bent Larsen in 90 moves. This is one of the rare occasions in chess that the grandmaster at this level will lose in only 19 moves. And I will tell you, the player of the white pieces lost this game because not following these three main principles in chess. Let's go and learn these principles. The first main principle in chess is to seize the center, is to control the center. This is the main center that you should control it, and this is the whole center that we should control in chess. So all of your game is around this. If you don't control this, you are not a good player. So if you play just h3 in the opening, if you just play a3, it doesn't control anything. So when you push these pawns, you are going to control these squares. And the second important principle in chess is to put your pieces in the best squares, in the most active squares, like to put them in the center of the board. Usually the center of the board is the most active place for our pieces. So this is why in the opening we call it develop your pieces, and we call it development. And the third main chess principle and opening principle is king safety. So you need to put your king into a safe square. But this is not all. I will elaborate on it. So this is why in the opening we are supposed to control the center, to develop our pieces, and to castle. This is why we play like this, because these are the three main principles. But castle is not just putting the king in safety, but it also activates the rook. So if you just apply these rules into your games, you will play better moves. But is this all? So this grandmaster lost this? No. The one very important addition to these rules is to try to not let your opponent to do these things. And this needs an attacking mindset in chess. So you try to control the center and you're not allowing your opponent to control the center. You try to develop your pieces to the best squares and you're not allowing your opponent to put their pieces in their best squares. And you put your own king into safety and you try to not allow your opponent to bring their king into safety. This is how you need to play chess, and this needs an attacking mindset. You need to go and attack. Some players, when they start and play chess, they just go like this. They play e3, and after this, they play c3. And I don't know, let's see. They play a3, they are creating a China wall in the game, or some players play like this. They don't do anything harmful to their opponent. They just want to just play some moves. This is a very, very amateur level chess, but even at other levels, like some players that playing like knight f3, g3, bishop g2, of course they play for center, for developing, but some people have this mindset that they are not trying to attack their opponent, and they are not trying to seize the space, seize the center, seize the piece activity from their opponent. This is the mindset that you need to have in chess, to attack, to be able to create threats. So let's go and see this game. This game, Bent Larsen, 1971, started with pawn to b3. This opening has a name, Larsen Nimzovich attack. Nimzovich Larsen attack. So the player with the white pieces has a name on the opening. He was one of the pioneers of this opening. He was a very strong grandmaster. But Spassky. So what's wrong with this p3? It's not a bad move, of course. Hikaru Nakamura these days is playing it. Even Carlsen played it. I guess every single good chess player will play these kind of things. But at amateur level, this is not the best that you can do because it will not control the center. You just want to develop your pieces. Of course, this bishop on this long diagonal, so-called the fianchetto bishop, is a very strong piece, but you need to control the center. So let's see how Spassky responded. He played e5. So with this move, controlling the center, these two squares, and letting the bishop have some space, and after that, trying to bring the bishop out. White played bishop to b2. Okay, good move. Develop and attack the center. So the best moves in chess, what are the best moves in chess? The best moves in chess are the multi-purpose moves in chess. So if you're just playing for one thing, it's probably not the best move. So when you play for multi-purpose ideas, probably they are the best ideas in the game. As we have a double attack in chess, one of the most common tactics, it's also a multi-purpose idea. So in this case, white develops the piece and attacks the center. This is why it's very strong. And here, Spassky is doing the same. Some players are just going to defend it with this, or even worse, just defend it with this. And this is a terrible move. Why? Because it will not develop our pieces. It will weaken our king. This pawn is defending this king, so if you push it, it will weaken it. And it will create some weaknesses in our position. After this, Spassky played knight c6. With this move, controlling the center, developing the piece, and protecting the pawn. It's a multi-purpose move. And here, Larsen played c4. This is also not one of the best moves. This move controls the center, yes? It controls the center in the game. But it will not develop a piece. So now black developed another knight into the game and controlling the center. Now black has two knights in the game and white has only one bishop. And this is another important rule. When you're trying to develop your pieces, as I told you, put your pieces in the most active squares. Knights in their initial squares are not so much active. So try to develop your knights first to make them active. This bishop is doing something from f8, but these knights are not doing anything from b8 or g8. So from here, they control very important squares. In this, don't get me wrong, this c4 even played by Carlsen and Nakamura. So this is completely playable. I recall a game of Carlsen Grischuk in this line and Nakamura Hans Niemann, one of the best in the world, even playing like this. Still, white is okay, but this move is not one of the best. White plays knight f3. You might argue that this move is a very good move because it's a multi-purpose move. It attacks e5 and center. It develops the piece. So what's wrong with it? What's wrong with this move is white forgot about the main principle. The main principle is to control the center. And now black has more control over the center and it allows black to start an attack. And this is where the attacking mindset will help you. So many players in this position will just defend the pawn. If you're just trying to defend in chess, you will not progress in chess. You need to start an attack. You need to have an ambitious way of playing chess. So it's where Spassky starts the attack. Pawn to e4. And now this knight has to move. And after it moved, what do you play in this position? What's the best move for black? Another multi-purpose move to develop the piece and to attack and to control the center. And in this position, I will tell you another very important rule in chess, to not reduce the tension. In chess, oftentimes there will be tensions over the board, like between these two knights, now there is a tension. And if you're the player that removes the tension, most of the time, you will suffer from this decision. Like in this position, if you take on d4, then white takes back, and this bishop on d4 is much active than it was on b2. It's not a very bad move, but you try to increase the tension. When there is a tension in the board, you try to increase that tension. So attacking the knight and asking white to take it. And in this position, white shouldn't have taken it. He take it in the game. like I guess 40 years after this game, Magnus Carlsen played the same position against Sasha Grishuk and played knight f5 and won this game. But the only reason that he won that game was that he was Magnus Carlsen. You cannot just learn from Magnus Carlsen games. It's not a bad move. It's the best move in this position. But this position is already bad for white. So the only reason he won was it was a blitz chess game, and the other reason was that he was Magnus Carlsen. But in this game, Bent Larsen took here, and he reduced the tension. And when he reduced the tension, now which pawn you're going to take? It's a very important decision for black in this position to take with which one of the pawns. In this position, there is a famous saying in chess that every Russian chess school will teach you to take toward the center. So to take toward the center to have more control over the center, like you have more pawns in the center and you can control the center. This is a very good rule. But all rules have exceptions, and you need to apply the rules based on the position and based on the game that you have. In this position, black has a lead in development. So he wants to continue this lead in development and he wants to use it. So this is why he takes d takes c6 and opening up the line for the bishop, opening up this file for the queen, and probably in the future for a rook to start the attack, because now white lacks in development. The bishop on f1, the king is still not castled. White needs moves to castle. So this is why black just took with the d pawns. In some position you're just going to do it, so it's based on the position. In the game, white played e3. He tries finally to develop some pieces. Larsen was a player that he was very creative. He was trying to play so many creative lines and ideas, but sometimes you cannot ignore the main chess principles. In this position, black played bishop f5. Bishop g4 was also good. There were some very crazy lines with bishop takes f6 that you can calculate. It's what black can take back, white take, black can take here, white can take here. Lots of calculations needed, but bishop f5 is good enough in this position. It's the best move actually. Trying to develop, you might say, why not castle? Castle is also good. In this position, castle is also good, but black has something deeper in his mind. Let's see. Bishop f5. If you castle, even later on, you need to develop your pieces. So this is what I tell you. Try to put your pieces in the most active squares, in the optimal squares. Find the optimal squares for your pieces and put them there. Bishop g4 was also good, but both bishop e2 and bishop f6, there were lots of calculations and lots of consideration that should have been done. But bishop f5 is enough in this position. White plays queen to c2. Another move that is not very good in this position. But already white has so many weaknesses. This is called the weakness in chess. When you have a square that you cannot protect it with your pawn, it will be a weakness. And a very important chess rule here does not allow white to play d4, because there is en passant in this position and black just wins a piece with the help of this bishop and with the queen. You might say, it's by chance, but it's not by chance. It's why black took with the d pawn on c6 and then put the bishop on f5 to prevent this kind of ideas. So this is not all by chance. This is a chess master performing his knowledge over the board. So white cannot flee away with his pawn. So now black has a control over this line, especially this d line, and this is a weak square that black can use it. In the game, white played queen c2, bringing the queen out. Maybe bishop e2 was better, knight c3 maybe was better, but queen c2 is not such a bad move. And here again, black, instead of castling, plays queen to e7. Another very brilliant chess move. Why? It's another multi-purpose move. It allows black to go long castle. Even if you castle short, your rooks will be connected together. It will bring the queen out, and it will create some attacks in the near future. But now black is preparing long castle. This is the main idea. So black does not want to go to short castle. He wants to attack. He has the attacking mindset, and he realized that now here I have 4 defenders for my king. My king is very safe, and I might start an attack on white's king. So by some pawn march on the king side, like this kind of ideas, to go for after white's king. So this is why black is postponing the castle in this game. trying to go to one side at the right time and at the right position. White in this position plays bishop b2, and black decides to just castle. And here where the opening part for black finishes. When your rooks are connected, when the towers are connected together, you finished your opening. And you can see that black finished the opening much sooner, because in a much faster way, because now white needs to develop a knight and castle to have this connection between the pieces. But after that, white has lack of space because black has more control over the center, and white pieces are not in the most active squares. So overall, black has an advantage. Nevertheless, white should have played knight c3 and then go for long castle, which was not very pleasant. Larsen, with his creative mind, understood that he has lack of space in this position. So if I play knight c3 and then castle, black probably will double on the d line, probably will start some attack on the king, and I'm not in a good position. This is why Larsen played another very strange move and a very bad move in this position. He played pawn to f4. With this move, he wanted to control a square in the center. He wants to have some control. First of all, en passant doesn't work in this position. You know why? You can try to stop the video and find why, because it seems like it attacks the bishop and attacks the queen. But the reason is white is just going to take on f5 with check, and after that you're going to lose the game. So you need to have a good calculation in chess and a good vision also. And here where I want you to stop and think about this position. This is where we learn how to create a plan in chess. One of the most important skills that a chess player has to have is creating plans, is to have some plans in mind and to execute them over the board. Of course, calculation is very important, but planning is also very important, especially in strategic chess positions. In this position, in chess overall, how do we plan? How do we create plans in the game? So many players just play random moves. Like in this position, okay, king b8, knight c3, I don't know, let's put the rook on e8, then white just simply plays something like h3, and then let's just dabble, and then white plays castle. Of course, g4 was exist here, so maybe h5, like castle. Still it's good, but white managed to run away. Like white's position positionally is worse because of this weakness and because of the activity of the black pieces, but it's not a big deal right now. White can just try to improve and to create some plans. So you need to find the best plan in the position. You cannot just shuffle the pieces. You cannot just play without any plans at every single position. So in this position, black needs to create a plan. And what is the plan in this position? Is to attack. The plan mainly comes from your strengths in the position and your opponent's weaknesses in the position. So if you have some strengths in the game, you go for that part of the game and you attack that part of the game. And if your opponent has some weaknesses in the game, you're going to exploit those kind of weaknesses. So in this position, black has to find white's weaknesses and his strengths to create the plan. So what are the white weaknesses? The main weakness in this position for white, the main drawback of white position is his king. His king is still in the center. This is the most important piece in the game. So if you just try to play like this, you are not going to exploit this. You need to exploit this king. This is why you need a very, very quick attack against this king, because white only needs 2 moves to run away in this position. So if white only needs 2 moves, you need to be fast. This is very important. But from which side you're stronger, black has a control over the center. This is very clear. And some control over the king side, because white left all of the king side with his pieces. So now black can start a plan. And this is very important to find crucial moments in your games. This is one of those crucial moments that you need to start an attack. And if you don't think at this position, at this critical point position, then you just play some random moves and you will not find the best moves and you will not treat your position in the best way. There are some positions that you just need to play some good moves, but some positions you need to come up with a plan. You need to come up with a very fast plan. And this is one of those positions. Why? Because white is behind in development. White has so many weaknesses and he's trying to solve them. So this is where black comes in. And here black starts the attack with knight to g4. So black brings the pieces into the attack. Black's army is ready, white's army is not ready. So this is why black starts the attack. The queen is trying to penetrate from h4, and after g3, maybe going to h3, trying to penetrate on these white squares. Like, for example, if you play knight c3, even rook d2 works here. Like d2, rook d2 is going to finish off the game. But I don't know, let's just see a3. Once again, rook d2 work, but this is also good. And the queen will come here. And if you go here, still there are but black can play queen h6. And white has so many problems with his king, with his pieces. So, but here, yes, black has some threats to take on d2 even in some positions. White plays pawn to g3, trying to stop black from penetrating from this h4 square. And he was probably hoping, yeah, rook d2 is completely working in this position. Rook d2 is completely working. Even this is going to work. I'm not trying to explain all of the moves. Rook d3 is the best move in this position. But in this position, Spassky, he was a very, very strong player and a gentleman also. Here he comes up with a plan that is like historical wars to me. Like when there is a door and in front of a city, in front of a castle, and they will protect that door to not allow the army to come in, you need some forces to break that door. And in this position, Spassky goes in a way to break the door to the white king, and he starts with pawn to h5. Very good move, just trying to play h4, ignoring all of these kind of ideas, because it's just a waste of time for white. Black just moves the rook, and after going back, just pushes h4 and it's over. Larsen knew what's coming, so he tries to stop it. He plays pawn to h3, trying to move this knight away. And this is a very important position. If you're just coming back, and white plays knight c3, and if you're just playing some moves in this position, and white just castles, after a short while, white doesn't have so many problems in this position. Just some problems on the king side, just that. But this is now not how Spassky played this game, of course. In this position, Spassky continued the attacking mindset. So if you're trying to stop me, just do whatever you want. In chess, you are not supposed to respond to all of your opponent's moves. Some players are playing lag in a way that every time their opponent attacks them, they are just going to move away. This is not the attacking mindset. I will talk about attacking mindset and initiative mindset in the later videos of this series. You know that this is the second video of this series. The first video was the Magnus Carlsen video. At the age of 13, he performed 100% accuracy. You can go and watch that video after this one also. But in later videos of this series, I will try to teach you how to have this attacking and initiative mindset. But in this position, just try to find the best move for the black pieces. The best move in this position is just to ignore white, because white has a box of pieces here stayed in their initial squares, and black has all of his pieces in the action, and he should continue the attack. And he just plays pawn to h4, a brilliant move by Boris Spassky, trying to just crack open that door to the white king. White is lost in this position. He says, okay, let's die on a full stomach, so takes on g4. And here, black just says, you can take this one also. I just need to promote this pawn into a queen. The main idea is if you take here, take back, and if you take the bishop, you own two pieces, but after rook h1, check bishop here, pawn to g3, black, pawn to g2, black not only makes a queen, but also checkmates white's king. So it's not the way. Larsen says, okay, I'm clever, I will play rook to g1. And this is where the comedy for black and the tragedy for black, for white starts. In this position, there are so many moves that are going to win. If you put this position to a lot of chess players, they will tell you queen h4 with g2, queen h2, queen h1 ideas is just over. Yeah, those are very great. Those are very great. But ladies and gentlemen, in this position, Boris Spassky came up with a move which made this game very famous, and it's a humiliating move for white. Black grabs the rook and put it. Which square do you think? To h2, to h3, to h4? Which square? He puts it on h1. Unbelievable. Just for a tempo. Just for a tempo in attack. White takes it. And then g2. Where are you going? I'm going to take it. You cannot come up because queen. So you need to either go to g1 or f1. If you go to g1, black is just coming. Like with queen h1, queen h2, it's just over. Winning the rook. Just over. In the game, Larsen tries to play rook f1, but then Spassky gives a check. If you play rook f2, there is g1 queen. He goes there. Black just takes it. Queen takes back. Bishop takes here. If king goes to c1, there is queen d1 checkmate. And if bishop e2, queen to h1, and it's a checkmate in 19 moves. Exactly before move 20. This is ridiculous, guys. This is a grandmaster playing for the board one of the world team. The whole world team was Bent Larsen, and he lost in 90 moves in this game. Why? Because let's go and review the game. b3, good, not a bad move, a normal move. It's not a multi-purpose move. It's why it's one of the not one of the best, because it's only doing one thing. But this is a multi-purpose move. This attacks the center, good move. Knight c6. This is not a good move. c4 is not a good, because it's only controls the center. But black develop and control the center. White tries to attack, but he was not prepared for it because he lacks control over the center. This is where the attacking mindset begins. Pawn to e4, knight to d4, and bishop to c5, increasing the tension instead of reducing the tension. Bishop to c5. White should have played knight f5 like 40 years after this game Magnus Carlsen done against Sasha Grishuk, but he took here, reducing the tension, taking back with the d-pawn to attack, to have this momentum, to have this tempo. Now every single tempo in this position matters. This is black activating the pieces, black bringing the queen out, black going to long castle, connecting the rooks. Now black is in the game. Black reached middle game or pre-middle game, but white is still in the opening. White plays another ridiculous move, f4, but as I explained it, why Larsen played it. And in this position, the plan starts. Black is going to kill white king. In this position, all kind of knight d3, bishop b3 ideas were exist. Some position, rook d2. Everything was working in this position. Even here, rook d2 probably works. Rook d3 working, but this hammer comes. This pawn is trying to just crack open the door to the white king. White started to create some attacks, but he was not able to do so. Black was much ahead in the development, so he just ignored it. h4 takes, and take on g3. Just take whatever you want, and here the marvelous move rook to h1. I mean, this is ridiculous. Rook takes, g2 goes here. Doesn't make a big difference in this position. And here where Spassky checkmated his opponent. He was a great guy, great chess player. We can learn a lot from him. I hope this was the case for you. Tell me what you learned from this video if you watched it till the end. And remember always to enjoy chess and life.